Hello, guys and gals, and this is Vlog Friday for Friday. I believe this is August 27th of 2021. This should be episode 47, I believe, and so yeah. Anyways, as always, we're going to talk about something before we go into the 7 points. I think there's still 7 points. Yeah, there are. Okay. Anyways, it's been super hot. Heat index, up in the hundreds. And that really has very little to do with this point, I would say. Because it's just, the days tend to be pretty hot. Then again, this is Illinois where the weather is kind of strange. And, they say, if you don't like the weather, then just wait like 15 minutes and it changes, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, where am I going with this? I don't know why I started on this train of thought. Heat must be getting to me. Anyways, let's try this again. It's easy. Basically, that's an example of how it's easy to just be absorbed in one's own little world. And I am very guilty of this. It's easy for me to get sucked into my own little world and, basically neglect the people around me. I'm kind of ashamed to admit that happens a little bit too often for my taste. And it's something that I really need to work on. It's been especially common for me, I guess, with the whole coronavirus thing. Because, with all the social distancing and all the precautions, Anyways, all that being said, it's easy to be oblivious to that. I mean, if I were a Pokemon, my Pokemon ability would probably be oblivious because it's a little bit too easy for me to, to neglect people. But anyways, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, to be honest. But it's times like this when you really need to be, or have rather, more patience with people. And sometimes that's difficult. Anyways, that was probably completely pointless, but anyways, I do try to show compassion and kindness to everyone I meet. It's basically the way I was raised, so there's But anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over these points, and maybe I can pull something redeeming out of whatever that intro thing was. But anyways, we're gonna start with point 1 here. Is it's really easy, especially with everything that's going on in the world, to basically lose hope, to be disheartened, to basically be depressed. Sometimes it's difficult, even on a good day to avoid depression. But one way is to basically deal with the symptoms, not necessarily the root, but the symptoms. And one way is to do something that you enjoy at least once a day. Make sure it's something legal. And yeah, I always have to put that in because I want to only endorse legal activities, of course. But that could be something as simple as eating something that a treat. It's not something you would eat every day. But you have to make sure it's within your dietary wheelhouse. I always have to say that as well, because I'm not endorsing someone go against their dietary restrictions. So so maybe watch a movie that you haven't watched in a long time, or one that you really enjoy. Or just treat yourself to something special. That's one way, anyways. Because you're important and you matter. Anyway, number two is there's always someone who cares, and that can be someone in the service industry, um, the support industry rather, the support industry. I think the service industry is like factory workers or something, and I get the support and service industry mixed up because they both start with S, I guess, and so. But yeah, the support industry rather. Anyways, and there's always people. It depends really on worldview, but there are also people in the clergy and other people like that. And then there's always family, friends, and stuff like that. There's always people who care. That's basically the point I'm trying to get across, even though I'm doing a very poor job of it. Um, this is basically going live the day of, so I'm panicking a little bit and not sure I'm going to be able to get this done in time. Number three is if you are suffering from an affliction, there's no shame in seeking help, and that can go for a mental condition as well as a physical condition. I mean, sometimes it's hard to see doctors, especially with the resurgence of the coronavirus. But you should always seek help if you're hurt in some way or suffering from something that they could probably help with. I know that I used to have to go to the doctor to get boils popped, which was never really any fun, but yeah, that was really interesting actually. Maybe I'll go into that story some other time. But anyways, but there's also less of a stigma, I think, these days attached to mental illness, which is basically a positive. There used to be a time when there was this what's the saying? Address the pink elephant in the room or the white elephant or the elephant. Maybe it was just the elephant in the room. Maybe the elephant didn't have a color to it. I don't know. But that was an old phrase about maybe addressing something that's obvious, but it was something uncomfortable. Kind of. Then I think of the Gary Larson comic where the elephant is at the party and sees that the piano has ivory keys and it's freaking out. But anyways, there used to be a time when there would be a stigma attached to mental illness. I'm thankful that that isn't the case these days. People are realizing that with mental illness, it's really not their fault. I mean, and there are some mental conditions that require medications to actually coexist, and like paranoid schizophrenia and bipolar, and among others. Basically, those require medication, but there are other mental conditions such as depression that don't. And I really admire people that can actually handle their depression without medication. But I realize that there's a lot of people who can't, and basically, I'm talking to them specifically because I mean it's really good that you can basically take care of your depression that way. I mean, without the medication, but it's always good to know that there is prescription, I believe, medication, and always with medications, you want to make sure that you take either over-the-counter or prescription medications. You don't want to over-medicate because there's kind of an epidemic of that, too. And with people overdosing on painkillers and stuff like that, it's just, society's kind of a mess, to be honest. But number four is no matter how bad things get, there's always hope, and that's one thing that I really want to stress. Sometimes we can have bad days and think there is no hope, but there actually is. There's always hope, even though times seem dark. And so it's not easy sometimes to find hope, but there's usually, or there's always rather, a means of hope. And I know it's easy for me to say that when the times are good, and then, difficult for me to say that when the times are bad, but it's something I genuinely believe, is that there is always hope, and you should always hold on to it. Number five, I had to basically change last time because I was tired of the way it was worded. For one thing, I had spelled societal tags wrong, and that was bothering me to no end. And I had had labels first and tags, and it's always tags and labels. And so I finally changed it because the way I had it phrased was bothering me. So anyways, what we have here is societal tags and labels are pointless. People are people, and sometimes it's a little bit too easy to forget that. It's easy to be sucked into one's own little world and not really be paying attention to other people, and sometimes people take that personally. And there's also a world of societal tags and labels out there, and even the positive ones I feel kind of have a negative connotation. When you're tagging or labeling someone, it kind of puts them into a box that they don't fit into, and I mean a figurative box, not a literal box. Because, I mean, that's no fun, especially if you have claustrophobia. I mean, you don't want to be putting people into physical boxes, or metaphorical ones either. Basically, it's easy to forget that people are people sometimes, especially if we're kind of in a bad mood, or if we're angry, or if things aren't quite going our way, or if you're jealous of someone. It's really easy to forget that, well, hey, they same blood that's flowing through your veins is flowing through their veins, and you really should discriminate against someone just because they're a different religion, they're a different sexual orientation, they're a different religion. Their beliefs might be different than yours, but maybe they have a unique perspective on something. And that's one thing about, number 6. You should always be yourself. There will never be another you. And that is also why I encourage people to start a YouTube channel and express their ideas, because there's a world of ideas out there. And you, as a person, have a unique perspective that is important. And that's something to always take into account. You have value as a person, and you should never forget that. You should also really take pride in your individuality, and people will accept you for who you are. I always bring up the point of the top YouTubers, the ones that have millions upon millions of subscribers. They are themselves, and they have a unique personality. And then there will probably be people who try to, emulate that, which is okay as long as you don't completely lose your identity. If you try to please people too much, then you basically lose your identity sometimes, and you basically forget who you really are. And that's really tragic. But anyway, so just be yourself. Anyways, number 7 is always to think positive thoughts, and I mean the genuine positive thoughts, not I'm positive this is going to be a bad day. No. I'm talking about the positive thoughts of joy and sunshine and stuff like that. It's really easy to not think positive, especially when times are bad. But like I say, there's always hope, and there's always, I believe, a time for positivity. Positivity and positive thinking are always good things. There have been studies done, clinical studies that really demonstrate this and really well. That there's really a lot of good things, a lot of benefits to positivity, like lowered stress levels, a longer lifespan, basically just a genuine, overall healthier person. I'd go as far as to say that positivity could probably even help prevent disease to a certain extent. And it also helps with mental state. So, always think positive thoughts. Okay, it has been about 15 minutes, and I'm going to leave this video here. If you found it useful, then please like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.